Welcome to another deep dive into Sombra. Um, so if you took a look at the first one, it's long, and a lot of people complained that it was long. So, uh, this time around, I'm changing my approach to how I'm doing these dives. Um, Lectures, I guess you could call them. That should make it a bit shorter. Um, with the big thing here being instead of just doing the entire map and all the players on Sombra for that map, I'm just going to attempt to do one player on one map and slowly but surely get through the entire World Cup roster and games. Um, so to just kind of start it off this time, I'm also kind of changing up the order I'm doing it because of this. I'm just gonna go pretty much in order of which players played Sombra the earliest. So if you could tell, we're gonna be watching Hydration. Um, this was on Illios against UK, which most of you who watched it will remember was pretty one-sided. This is on the Ruins point. There really wasn't any Sombra played on the first point because Hydration was just dominating with Pharah the entire first. But now he's on Sombra, and the domination pretty much keeps going. There's still a few things we can talk about, but this is going to be mostly good stuff, especially coming out of Hydration. I would expect him to be very good at Sombra, especially this kit, because he was, if for all that remember, he was the main Sombra player for the LA Gladiators for the portion of the season that Sombra was used quite a bit. And obviously, we'll go over Surefour too for all you Gladiator fans that might be watching. Um, so, with that out of the way, might as well get started. Um, so, first things first, we're kind of looking up at the top here, and we can see that United States is kind of playing, kind of not really a goats comp, not really a dive comp either, though. Um, the big thing is you got Sinatra over here on the Brigida, and Hydration here is going to be our Sombra guy. Um, so big things we got to look at when playing Sombra with this is that there's not really any big ultimates other than spaces that are really going to work super well with EMP, and that's fine. It's a trade-off. Uh, so knowing that Hydration really doesn't need to hold on to his ultimate for too long, if like he would if he was waiting on like a nano blade or something of that sort. He usually should be able to EMP when he thinks it's a good time. And this comp should be able to capitalize on that. Second big thing we gotta realize is he is the only source of any sort of ranged and kind of continual damage outside of Muma and Space diving into the enemy backline or Sinatra pushing forward with his flail. So it's really gonna be up to Hydration here to pick up and deal a lot of damage for his team. So if I had to say anything about the kind of Sombra style we would need to see coming out of him, would be a pretty aggressive one. So if you watched the last video, it'd be very akin to what we would need to see, kind of what we saw out of Leave, how he was playing pretty aggressive. And for other people that might have watched the video, translocator placement is definitely going to be stressed again here. Just I don't, when I was watching it earlier, I don't think he makes a ton of translocator issues. I like most of the ones that he has. So we probably won't be on that as much, but I'll talk about it, say what's good about what he's doing in some situations. And finally, just before I let this play, just looking at the other comp, just the big targets that I think Hydration should be going for with his hacks, definitely Smacks. And if I'm correct, I think Fusions is going to switch over to a Winston at some point. So, kind of the last map that I did the overview on, we saw most of the Sombras on that map really didn't focus the Winston down for pretty much anything. And I tend to agree with that playstyle, just because it's outside of certain circumstances, it's actually pretty hard to get a hack onto a Winston. He just has a lot of counterplay to Sombra's kit. He's, in my opinion, probably the best tank counter to Sombra. It's just hard to do things to him. It's not like Reinhardt or Diva, where as soon as you hack them, their entire kit is rendered pretty muted. Winston can still be really annoying to a Sombra player if he gets on top of her. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and start this off, I guess.
Everything can be hacked, and everyone.
So chances are, just looking at the comps, is his team and probably UK too are going to be rushing to get on point first and set up kind of zone of control since they're both running the Brigidas. They just want to make sure that neither team can probably set themselves up.
See you later.
So, just going to talk about this real quick. I won't spend too much time on it. I do like this translocator positioning. It's a pretty good one. It's really not far from the point at all. I mean, you can see where Hydration is now. As soon as you translocate and grab that health pack, it's about 3 seconds until you get into a pretty nasty sightline for the enemy team to deal with. Getting right here, pretty hard. You got that statue there, so if the Widow's on that high ground, either up there at the ruins or over here, it's going to be pretty hard to see you. And if she's right there, that's about the only threat you have. So the Widow's not going to be too big of a problem for Hydration here. And generally for Sombra, Widowmaker isn't a big problem unless you're trying to move around invisibility. So yeah, I do like that placement. And that's a good hack pack right there. For those who might have been wondering why didn't he hack that one, I don't think it's really necessary. Like sometimes health packs that you're going to translocate back to are, you don't need to hack them if they're kind of out of the fight. But if you have one that you're thinking that you can consistently fall back onto, or that your team can use, it's usually good to have one or two reliable packs. And this one on Illios is one of the most reliable ones you can get. For example, if the enemy had a Sombra, there'd probably be a hack war over who could get this one first. Because generally, if there's 2 Sombras on a team, whoever controls this health pack tends to control the map. So yeah, so that's a good hack there. So now that we're kind of seeing where the enemy are positioned. Just gonna pop out. Kind of see that both the supports are back here that he could see and gets these smacks, and he was able to just tell that Fusions is right here. I think we can see Mikey A is back here, and knowing Team USA's comms, they probably would have been able to call out where Mikey A is by now. I think Muma here probably just got damaged by Mikey, if I had to take a guess. If not Mikey, it was probably by Boombox over there, judging by the shots. But overall, I don't think the Widowmaker is going to be too big of a problem to deal with for hydration here. Like I said, it's going to be probably Smex is the big hack target in this situation. And then after you would hack Smex, probably Boombox, being the least mobile of his targets, would probably be the best target to tell his team to focus down after they get Smex. I do not remember what he does here, so we'll just let it play. Obviously, he was looking for the Widow.
The objective is now.
Which I like that hack on Fusions. I don't think it got a lot done. He's technically behind Sinatra on alt charge, as it is. I still think Smex would have been better. Just because Smex was able to get that defense matrix, probably mitigate a good bit of the damage that was trying to come in. And obviously Smex is kind of out in the open now in comparison to the rest of his team, so I'd like to see the focus switch over to Smex, since he's just kind of out of position in comparison to everyone else. Yeah, and that's the other reason why I would have considered the hack on or the targeting onto Smex there instead of one of the healers like Cruz. Just wasn't able to get in enough reliable damage to get Cruz there. Ended up kind of being a wash. Lost a lot of potential ultimate charge.
I'm out of here. Feeling much better.
Took it out.
Ahorita regreso. Hey. Looking for me?
That's one of the reasons why it's kind of pretty hard to hack Winston. Is it's pretty easy to cancel your hack by throwing down bubble. It doesn't take long at all. Diva sometimes has a harder time responding to a hack. I mean, yeah, she can usually get pellets off on you, and it only takes one to cancel a hack. But if her aim is off just enough, it usually doesn't matter. Not to mention she has to do a 360, but if Winston notices that he's being hacked and has bubble, which I think we're going to see this again in just a moment, it's pretty easy to stop a Sombra hack and then turn around and start zapping her, as we can see. The other thing is, I think this was probably an early engage coming out from hydration, because you could really see, I mean, Space is all the way back there, Sinatra, who's your other pretty much only big damage sources over there. Raucous and Moth are kind of going to end up being caught out, unless Muma is right there, which he is not. Where is Muma, actually? I'd like to know that. Oh, wow, Muma's all the way back there. Oh, he's probably on the Widowmaker. Okay. So, this might have been an early engagement coming out of hydration. But I don't think that's too out of the ordinary for this US team. Because from what I was hearing, especially from watching like Jane's streams, talking about US's strategy is they tended to always want to engage early and aggressive, just to try to catch people out off guard. But in this case, I don't know if that's the most beneficial thing. But I think the United States ends up capping this point. Anyways, I could be wrong about that though.
See you later.
Hey.
Mucho mejor. Beacon in place. Gotcha.
Yeah, see that happen again. And he had the open sight line on Smek's hero, and he was trying to fly up. I'm still surprised he didn't go after Smek's with the hack, because he was running away from him as it was. I wonder if it's some sort of comms where they're calling out him to hack fusions for whatever reason. I don't know, I find it a little weird, but that he tried it twice. And he should have been able to track bubble usage too. So I was surprised he tried it again.
Into the eye.
I'm just gonna back up a second. I'm gonna watch this from spectator point of view. Because we obviously saw what he was seeing. He saw the two tanks right there. Where was Boombox positioned though? Because he wasn't in sight lines. The Boombox is all the way over there. Ooh. That's surprising that. Man, Boombox must have gotten that off at like the perfect time. That's actually a little surprising. That was close angle. And obviously, from where hydration was, you couldn't really see Boombox. It must have either been just out of range when he popped it. It might have been right here. Wow, that's close. Yeah, not the best EMP overall, though, because of that.
I'm out of here.
Get out of here again. Obviously, those Widowmaker fights, those are always frustrating. Sombra, you almost never win.
Iniciando el hackeo.
I don't understand why he hacks this pack. Let me look around real quick. Yeah, there's nobody really low on his team. I mean, his tanks are doing just fine. And the healers are... Okay, then. The healers are... Okay, there's some weird glitches. Anyways. Yeah. I don't think there's really any reason to hack that health pack. I think that just ends up being a wasted hack. And I don't even think he ends up putting a translocator back down here. I think he goes back to his old one. Yeah, I don't know why he hacked that health pack.
Much better.
Why he does that translocator either there.
Experience tranquility.
Damn it.
I'm gonna back this up a second.
I'm claiming this objective.
Experience tranquility.
Okay. I'm just gonna see if one of these guys might have seen where Boombox was. Yeah, okay, they probably could have. So, we got Boombox here. If I had to guess why Hydration was going after Boombox, because well, he's pretty out in the open. But all the rest of the teammates are right there, and obviously the rest of his team probably could have been calling that out. Probably was. They probably called for the engage on the boombox, though. If maybe one of Team USA recognized that he probably was close to his ultimate, and they probably wanted to get rid of him before he could use it in the middle of the fight, if I had to guess. But if that was the case, I don't know why Hydration didn't start that engagement with the hack onto him. Yeah, because he still got it up here. I don't know why he wouldn't have started that engagement with hack, just to guarantee that if he indeed was close to trance, that he wasn't going to come out. Or even just to negate Discord. I don't know, that's a weird target choice, if you ask me.
Nerf this!
I'm taking the objective. You know you want some.
Sniper, ten cuidado.
Pass into the eye.
Yeah, and there's the Transom boombox. I don't think it ends up doing too much, but that's a really good hack. For any new Sombra players out there, Primal Raging Winston is a pretty much guaranteed hack, unless you are getting absolutely focused by the enemy team. And once he's hacked, he really can't do much. I mean, I remember back in OWL Season 1, Fisher, during the Sombra meta, kept complaining about, I think it was Dante hacking him while he was in Primal Rage. So if Fisher gets frustrated when that happens, one of the best main tanks in the world, you gotta know it's gotta be good to do in your own ranked games. And certainly in professional play, it really negates the amount of space that Winston can create for his team. I am surprised that they were just shooting at Muma, though. I mean, not Muma, Fusions, though, in that situation. Instead of going after, say, Cruz or Boombox as soon as they saw the trans died. I would have seen, at least Hydration in this case. Because he was already close to ultimate. He has it now, obviously. But there might have been a little bit more value to be had. Or at least insurance, even though they get the point here. It probably would have been safer to just focus down the healers instead of just trying to shoot the 1000 HP alt battery standing in the middle of your team. Let the rest of your team get their ults. You can probably damage the supports instead. You were close. It might have been a target call, though. I'm not sure. I'm not in the comms. Now, one thing I'm actually pretty surprised that Hydration hasn't gone and done yet. I'm going to switch back to spectator mode just to talk about this one. I'm surprised he hasn't come back over here and hacked this again. He obviously has his ult. They have this fight. He can let his team push forward. I think he probably had time to come back here, hack this before going aggressive again. Especially at the tail end of a fight. And then next thing, just because I think it's going to come up, obviously he has EMP. And now that they have control over the point, I think it would be safer to use EMP kind of defensively. At least wait until the enemy are jumping into or are on the objective. But again, USA is a pretty aggressive team from what we've been hearing from other coaches. So their strategy probably is to use a few ults just to guarantee they get to the enemy can't get to the choke before a push even happens. But I don't personally like that as much for Sombra, just because there's like two things that are kind of worrying when you do that. The first of which is the enemies will tend to be spread out, just looking for angles to go in from, and really you could waste a lot more time by just stalling them to the on their way to the point, and then when they get to the point, to pop your EMP and guarantee the fight. Especially considering that about the only ult they have right now is Mikey A's, whereas the United States is pretty far ahead in the ultimate economy, except for Moth, and Sinatra just used his. But other than that, Raucus is about to have up Transcendence. They would be able to survive if anything happened at the choke here. I'll just let it go. I think what Hydration was trying to do up there was go pressure down Mikey A. I don't know if it was just a misjudgment in his jump there, or if his team just called out to take care of those guys. If I had to guess, it's probably just a misjudgment in the jump because Space is turned around with his back to those enemies inside there. But he reacts pretty well to that. A lot of players would just try doing that again.
Yeah, time to heal up.
Oof. I can't remember if Mikey gets hydration here. As you can tell, he's looking straight at him right here. He's right there for anybody that might not be able to see. And invisible, unfortunately, it still doesn't cloak you from that line of sight. But it usually is safe to actually stay inside of, at least in ladder play, probably in professional play too. It's easier. It's better to stay in invisibility while their sight's up, just because the movement speed will make you harder to hit, even if the Widow tries to go after you. About the only time really it's dangerous is if you're behind them and she pops in for sight. If you're in front of them or with your team, just pretty much stay invisible and keep erratically moving so that the Widow can't get a shot on you, which he's doing as far as we can tell.
Been here all along.
Like I said before, it was good to wait until they actually actively were about to step onto the point, because then you can get them like that. And this time he did get Boombox with the ult, I'm pretty sure, but I think Boombox ends up getting healed up quite a bit. Cruz and Kib were doing really well in these series. Maybe, and I know they end up losing Illios pretty hard actually after that first point, but Cruz and Kib were really popping off. I don't know if I liked that relocation. Because it honestly, it doesn't really, it puts you in a pretty enclosed space, which I think for Sombra is a pretty bad position to be in. You almost never want to be caught in a closed space with Sombra, just because then you have to rely on your damage to get you out of it again. especially if you translocated into that position. I think it would have been a bit safer, maybe, if he had tried to translocate back this way. Maybe line himself up to maybe grab that health back, or at least give Moth a chance to heal him, because now he's just pretty much encircled by the enemy team, and he's gonna get punished for it right there. You just gotta be careful sometimes when you're in the middle of the fight. You just have to throw your translocator. Generally, rule of thumb, in my opinion, is to just kind of get it to open ground. I find Sombra does better in open ground situations. Sometimes if there's obstacles to duck in and out of, that's usually even better. And over there, just really wasn't a good position. If he could have put it over here, which I think he easily could have, because he was about right here when he threw the translocator, if I remember correctly. That's a pretty easy flick to get it over here, and we've seen that out of other players before. The UK gets a flip here.
Oh, let's break it! Damn!
Just a quick thing on the translocator. I think that's a pretty good one in the situation that they're in right now. Even though it's not really close to any health packs, I think that one is just he's recognizing that they're about to lose map. If he doesn't get in there quick, then it's over. So putting it there isn't really a bad translocator by any means. In normal situations, I would say it is, but in this situation, I think it's the right move.
My ultimate is charging.
And then he gets that pulled back again. That was what we had last time they reset.
Apagando las luces.
I think that's an EMP that doesn't need to come out right now. I mean, you lost Muma, which in all circumstances is a pretty hefty part of your damage in this composition. And Raucus is transcending right now, so I think it would have been better that after they saw Muma go down, it would have been a good idea for them to retreat. You can see Moth over here. Actually, I want to look at his perspective real quick. Okay, he already wasted amp up. That's okay. But in that situation, I think it probably would have been smarter to buy time for maybe Muma to get back before you EMP again. I think it ends up working out for them, but I don't think it wastes as much time as it could have. And for the danger of, you don't want to give United Kingdom any extra fights at the end. I think that might have been risky, but I think it pans out for them in the end.
I'm on fire. Touch me, and let it burn.
Yeah, but they're pushing all the way up to the spawn. Generally, not a safe idea, especially in your ranked games.
Mucho mejor. Sniper, ten cuidado. ¿Extrañaste?
I'm trying to figure out why he's going after Mikey. I think the only reason that I can imagine is he's recognizing that Muma might be a bit more useful to peel for the supports on his team instead of trying to pressure the Widow down. So it might have been a call out of they wanted Hydration to pressure down the Widow instead of Muma, just so Muma could help with the back line, because Hydration wouldn't be able to do that. That's my best guess, though. I don't know why else he would try to go after this Widow. And I'm pretty sure he translocates right here, too. It's not just a drop. Yeah, no, never mind. Muma ends up going for her anyways. I don't know why Hydration went for that instead of going after the tanks or backline of the enemy team. That's weird. I don't know if I like it. There's got to be some reason, I just don't know what it is. It's a pretty good hack. I think Eva though. That damage blocking potential.
Beacon in place. Much better. Looking for me?
I wish he would have replaced that translocator earlier. Luckily his team's bailing him out here because they're just getting the picks, but you saw why that old translocator might not have been in the best position, because it took him probably a whole 5 seconds after translocating just to get a health pack and turn around and be back in the fight, and that's a lot of time given the circumstances that they're in. And especially if you're at 2 health, all it takes is just the wrong amount of flyaway damage and you're dead. You gotta be, that's part of the reason you gotta be careful with translocators. And it's such an easy problem to fix, but at the same time, you gotta know how to fix it. And I don't think by any means Hydration has had many problems with it. I think he's only had 2 in comparison to my last video that I did on this, where I kept going on it over and over again with some of the players. I think Hydration has pretty good translocator movement. Yeah, but here, the hack on Tracer, that point. Hitting Nicholas is a little bit of a good That's really good. Overall, I think Hydration's definitely a really good Sombra to look at for anybody that's learning. Obviously, he has OWL experience playing her, playing against the best players from all regions, World Cup. I'll probably do another one on Hydration soon. Probably as King's Row. And then after that, I'll probably look at Zachary on Volskaya. But, yeah, I think that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.